Welcome to Initial View. Thank you for taking the time to interview with us today. For the purposes of the interview, please state your full name and tell us about the academic progress you made so far in college.
My name is Wanguk Shin, and I go to Santa Monica Community College. I've been there for about 2 years, and I'm hoping to transfer to a four-year university as an environmental economics major.
Environmental economics. Okay.
Yes.
Let's get into that later. So where did you go to high school, Wanguk?
I went to high school in South Korea,
Okay.
which is where I'm from.
Okay.
I'm from
So
South Korea.
so you've been in the U.S. about 2 years for
Yes.
college. So tell me about your 2 years here in the United States. Like, what's been the highlight of your experience so far?
It's been so amazing. You know, when I was in Korea, like my English skills were really poor. And I wanted to study English in a different way and like in a different and interesting way. So I watched a lot of movies and the news, and I was able to improve my language skills faster than my friends. And so after I came here to the United States, I started a website where I teach English. I recorded videos, and I taught English to Korean students with movies and the news.
Okay.
And I taught them about like intonation and things like that.
Wow. Oh, so you actually got a little like a business on the side going.
Right. I mean,
assume-
like they don't pay me,
Uh-huh.
but like I enjoy it. I enjoy like helping people.
Okay. So tell me, like, just briefly, I don't want you to get into too many details, but give me like one student that you helped that was really memorable, like from your website.
For example, like there's a student that I'm teaching right now, and she said she already graduated from a four-year university here. And like I go to a community college, and she said she's been here in the United States for a long time, but she's still struggling with English. And she like came across one of my videos, and like she like came to know about my website, and she like asked me if I could like tutor her.
Okay.
And like so I'm teaching her like for free.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you,
doing movies and yes.
okay. So you find that to be very satisfying for you.
Right.
Okay.
It's a great experience. I just love it.
Okay.
I mean,
Let me ask you one more specific question, kind of briefly again. The 2 years that you've been in the U.S., what's one part of U.S. culture that you really come to enjoy?
just like I have found that Americans love talking to people. You know, for example, when I go on the street, just like walking, like waiting for a bus, like people will just come up to me and like ask me some questions, and like they will talk to me as if they're my friend. Like it doesn't really happen in Korea. Like if you just walk on the street and talk to random people, they're gonna like look at you like they're gonna think you're weird. But here people are like more friendly and they're social. They like talking to people. They like making friends with with people. So
And you,
that's like the
and you've enjoyed that.
yeah, I love that. Yeah,
Okay.
I like
Okay.
talking to people. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right, let's go back to your major. You said environmental economics. Please explain that for the audience a little bit. What do you mean by environmental economics?
Environmental economics is a study. As like many people know, we have limited natural resources, and environmental economics teaches you how to utilize those resources in an effective way. And I mean, I don't. I mean, there's still like many things that I need to learn, and but like I became interested in economics and also environmental economics by teaching English to foreign students.
Okay. Now, from what you're describing, then I want to kind of talk to you about some of the issues that are facing the South Korean economy. Since you mentioned environmental issues and the environmental footprint that, our economies around the world are creating. Let's talk about Samsung, for instance. They're the leading maker of Android phones. And, we have a huge dump site for used phones now, at the pace that we're making. So what would you advise to Samsung, who's obviously making phones by the millions every year, and then people are disposing of these old phones, and we're creating a huge environmental footprint through this waste product. What would you advise Samsung in terms of their approach to their economics in the future, in terms of its impact in the environment?
I think environmental economics is really important because it is something that's gonna affect our economy. And so I think Samsung will eventually have to face the consequences. For example, many people are suffering from air pollution, like climate change and global warming. And like no one is, no one can get away with this. And I believe, Samsung will also, like be part of it and will also have to face the consequences. So I think, I would advise that like they should, really take action towards, sustainable energy.
Okay, so what would be a specific solution then? I mean, it's good to advise them, hey, you're gonna eventually ruin the entire, because if you ruin the planet, you have no more economy, right? I understand your argument. If we don't treat the environment correctly, we're not gonna have anything left over to have an economy. So that's a general premise, but in terms of a specific solution for Samsung, what would you advise them? What would be like a strategy? Because Samsung still wants to make money. I know that CEO, he still wants to be profitable, but what would you advise a company like that still wants to be profitable but create a lesser environmental footprint?
Um, I think that's also up to the government too. Yeah. For that, I don't know. I haven't like done much research about that, and I think that is something that I'm looking forward to learning
Okay.
At a 4-year university.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
go ahead. What I was going to say is, okay, maybe you might not have a specific strategy advice for Samsung, but just in terms of like specifics of what we can do environmentally, then what would you suggest?
I would suggest that I think there are many things that the government could do to solve these issues. For example,
Give me an example.
South Korea has been suffering a lot from carbon dioxide. So I think one of the things, and also like aging population and like high unemployment, rates. And I think they can make policies that like imposes more, like more taxes on those companies who create like too much carbon dioxide.
I see.
Yeah.
And I agree with you there. The South Korean economy, it's not just the aging population, right?
Right.
But the young people are not finding work in the country. So do you have any suggestions for those issues?
For those issues, like young people?
Unemployment.
I think it has a lot to do with, its decreasing population. South Korea is one of the few countries that was able to develop at a very rapid rate. And one of the reasons why South Korea was able to do it was because it had a strong workforce. However, like the workforce has been getting weaker and weaker. So I think what the government could do is to provide subsidies for those people with more children. I think the government can really encourage people to have more children, so they can increase their population.
Okay.
Like for example, in China, like they suffered a lot from overpopulation, so they decided to impose more taxes on people with more than 2 children. But we are the opposite case.
I see.
So I think, yeah.
Okay. And I think the government's already doing that, right? There's tax
Yeah.
credits, bigger tax credits for
They're
having
already,
kids.
yeah.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Well, aside from that, I want to kind of talk about your personal life a little bit. Like, what's your favorite hobby or interest and why?
Oh, my favorite hobby is boxing.
Boxing. And why?
Yeah. I mean, I don't box anymore here, but when I was in Korea, I used to box, and I started boxing because I thought I would be able to become stronger, both physically and mentally.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I enjoy boxing. Like I can.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question then. The last time you boxed, was it just kind of shadow boxing, just practicing, or did you actually
Oh, it
box
was
somebody?
I actually boxed somebody.
Okay.
So after I come to the United States, I decided to live in a house full of UCLA students.
hmm
And I decided to do this, because like I wanted to challenge myself. It was pretty hard sometimes,
Okay.
but I taught them how to box and they taught me how to write essays very effective way.
Okay. So tell me the things that you learned from boxing, how has it helped you in like your life in general?
Life in general. Like it helped me with my studying a lot. Like, when I study, sometimes it gets boring and I have to spend a lot of time studying by myself. And sometimes it gets boring, so I want to like just like quit, I want to give up. But it happened a lot when I was boxing too. But I couldn't give up. I couldn't, run away from that.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so that type of mentality, I think I got it by boxing.
Okay. So I want to ask you a question because I think boxing is a great metaphor for life in terms of fighting and training and pushing through, like you said. Okay. So I want to give you a scenario. Let's say in the future you become a lobbyist for the South Korean government, and you are able to, lobby for policies in terms of creating lesser impact on the environment. Okay. So you're lobbying the South Korean government for more environmental friendly policies. But obviously, Korean government, it has its pros and cons. I'm Korean myself. Politicians could be bought off. There could be corruption. So if you're facing all these difficulties in passing policies to the environment, environmental issues, how would you overcome those difficulties, especially political corruption and lack of funding in lobbying for your policies?
I think, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't know what I would do in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is really important for us to know, like, that we will all be responsible for what we do.
Okay.
And so we are all like responsible for what we do. And I think I will try to create advertisements that really like tell about this.
Okay.
That tell that they're gonna face the consequences eventually.
Okay. I want to press this question a little bit further because I think political corruption is no joke in South Korea, right? So, and I'm not saying it's prevalent; everyone is corrupt. I'm just saying there's been some big cases of it in the past, as I've observed. So, for you, getting political might not be the most fun thing to do, but if you're in a situation where you have to get political, how do you think you will handle that?
How do I think I'll handle?
Yeah, handle a
Like
political situation where you're facing possibly corruption or other lobbying powers that have more money and they're out muscling you politically. How do you think you'll handle that situation? Tell me how you would handle that situation.
I read a book called David and Goliath,
Okay.
and that book is about finding your weaknesses and as well as your strengths. And a lot of times we get into a situation where we are weaker and where there's someone bigger, someone stronger,
Mm-hmm.
and I will try to use my weaknesses as my advantage.
Okay.
For example, David was a lot shorter and smaller than Goliath. However, he had more skills. Like he had a skill to like throw rocks,
Mm-hmm.
like stones.
Right.
Yeah, and like I would try to use my weaknesses as my advantage.
Okay.
I think that would
Okay. Okay. I like your political philosophy. It may work for you in the future. All right. Wanguk, we're almost done with the interview here, so I'll give you a final opportunity to add anything else you would like.
I wanted to talk more about what I do
Mm-hmm.
and what I would like to do in the future.
Okay.
So I am really interested in like helping people. I know that there are a lot of people in the United States who are suffering a lot. When I go on the street, like before coming to the United States, I thought that, US was the best country and it is the country where like a lot of wealthy people live. However, it was different, It was not what I thought. Like I saw a lot of like poor people dying on the streets. And I know that there are hundreds of thousands of people in Asia who are willing to pay tons of money just to, get tutors. and I wanna be the middleman. I wanna connect those Americans who are suffering with international students and like foreign people who are willing to learn English.
I see.
You know, one of my friends, he has great skills, but he failed to get a job at many companies just because his English skills were poor. And I want to help those people so that they can use their skills more effectively. And that's what I would like to do. And I'm gathering as many people as possible.
You're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I wanna do that. I wanna do it for the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanna be a person that creates like new value for humanity. This is something I love, and this is something that I would risk my life for.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you for that answer, and that concludes our interview. Thank you.
All right, thank you.